goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Sweet, that intro is my new favorite band. That's phenomenal. I'm so excited to be on.
Yeah. I heard a rumor that you might be able to play that song live today.
You heard correctly. Yes.
Excellent. So,
good enough for rock.
I don't know when I rock out here on your next favorite band show.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band.
Like Phil, you weren't supposed to make me get all. God Almighty!
But this
Phil.
is why we do it.
Like seriously, I gotta gather myself. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Tonight, we have the infectious blues-inspired psych rock from Chicago, Daisychain. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Philip Reese, and you are listening to Your Next Favorite Band. And great one this week. Just was enjoying chatting with them off the top here before we came on. Out of Chicago, an amazing band called Daisychain. I think they're going to be your next favorite band. They certainly are mine right now. Which I always love when that kind of all happens. Like this was one I recently found over the last month or so, and just absolutely caught my ears from the very first drop. The song that did it, we're going to play at the very end, as we usually do. Like the one that my personal favorite is always kind of what we play after the credits, but lots of other great tracks that we'll be sharing in and out. Before we bring them on, we wanted to give a save the date. Our Winter Wonder Jam is Saturday, December the 6th. The announcements are about to happen as far as who's part of that lineup. It's a great, once again, we decided to go, we like the format we came up with last year. Last year we involved a comedian to kind of kick things off. And then a musical opener and a musical headliner. So it's kind of like all of that also kind of in a festive, seasonal kind of bundle. But definitely want you to kind of save that date. And also, as is typically the case, we've got some great artists who have been guests of the show in this calendar year who are not part of that lineup. And actually, both bands were on the show earlier this year. Yes. So that's holding true. So guests of the show are who's going to be performing live at Godfrey Daniels that night. But that week prior, that lead up to that one, so it's a Tuesday night episode, December the 2nd, is when we're going to play a bunch of music that we receive in from prior guests of the show. So definitely kind of earmark Tuesday, December the 2nd, and for the live stream. And then that's always a fun one where you get to hear either new versions of songs or original holiday music or just seasonal stuff. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It could be any of the other holidays or thankfulness for Thanksgiving or year-end kind of like renewal type stuff. It's always great to see what people come up with. So that first week of December is our time to kind of be thankful for all of the guests who have been on the show, all of the people who tune in throughout the year. Like coming out of Music Fest, I did kind of encourage everybody to either like, subscribe, follow, whether it was Instagram, YouTube, the podcast, whatever. And numbers have really kind of really hit some nice milestones. We're approaching almost 50,000 views on YouTube. We just passed 10,000 downloads on the podcast, and Instagram just hit 1,000 followers. Thank you all for doing that. Thank you for kind of like joining in on the fun. And if you haven't yet done that, would recommend you do. Like basically, I had kind of teased out that we'd have some special guests 2 weeks ago. We had on Zach Miller from Dr. Dog, which was such an honor. Just last week's episode was Fabiola Mendez, which was also quite an honor. Like, just unbelievable what's just simply happening, like what's falling into the ability to meet someone, ask them to come on the show, and them say yes, which just still blows me away, even though we're almost 200 episodes in. It's just always kind of like amazing what people are willing to kind of just share their music, share their stories, and I'm just thrilled that I can be kind of like any part of that so that I can bring it to you all to kind of listen in. But more great stuff coming along, and obviously tonight's episode is no exception to that. Daisychain's awesome, but before we get to that, let's hear from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Hey, music lovers! Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you about our sponsor, BetterHelp. More and more mental health topics of depression, anxiety, addiction, and more are coming up in our interviews with artists and musicians who are brave enough to share them and the music that came out of the journey. Those songs may even help us feel a little bit less alone as we work through the same struggles, but at the end of the day, we need more than just a great song. We need therapy, and that's where BetterHelp can assist. BetterHelp connects you with a therapist who can help you find your path. Instead of being stuck in the endless loop of questioning yourself, you can talk through questions, concerns, with someone who's trained to help you find real answers. As you know, our Listen to the Dissonance shows help to create a safe space for vulnerable conversations, but not everywhere can feel that way. Since BetterHelp is accessed via their app, you can explore your options and conduct your sessions in the comfort of your own home or wherever you feel is best for you. After you download the app, you'll get started by filling out a questionnaire and get matched with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. And if that's not feeling right, you can easily switch to a different therapist at any time at no extra cost. They carefully make sure the therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you with any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. We at Your Next Favorite Band believe in breaking the stigma around mental health, and going to therapy is a sign of strength, not weakness. And with BetterHelp, it's easier than ever to take that first step towards feeling better. Click the link here or go to betterhelp.com/nextfavband and you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy. That's betterhelp.com/nextfavband. It's okay to ask for help. Contact BetterHelp today. So as I was mentioning, this band is out of Chicago, and they are definitely psych rock is the area that they really kind of love to sit in the pocket of. But this album that they came out with earlier this year, it's called All in a Name. It's pretty much, it just was earlier this year that it was released. So we're listening to some brand new music here. And the album is loaded with many different genres. It's nice and diverse, but it still always kind of has that psych rock kind of like core to it. So it's such a great sound. But check out this track. It's definitely the gateway song from this album. It's called Waste Your Time by Daisychain. Similar to the dichotomous nature of their name, blues psych rock band Daisychain produces a sound that is a beautiful series of contradictions, ambiguous yet easily comprehensible, brutally honest while also soothing, rooted in classic rock and still trippy enough to please the ears of the 21st century listener. The female-fronted band from Chicago, who are also the best of friends, use music as a tool to connect to the most importantly channel feelings around their craziness of modern life. Moody, soulful, and sultry, Daisychain's classic rock and roll sound is one that a wide variety will relate to because it is based around universal emotion. We'll bring us back up and then we'll bring them on the show.
I wanna waste you.
Welcome to the show, Nickole Regala, Sophia Williams, and Frankie Sripada.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
How's it going?
It is going fantastic, especially now that we're all together. And so we have so much to talk about just with this one here alone, but this is all from your kind of album release show or the performance at the Metro, right?
Yes.
That's so cool. Like, that's for a Chicago band is such a
benchmark, a landmark.
Yeah, it's like a flag. Like, we're gonna plant this in the, like, not that you've made it, but you've made it to a level that you can be so proud of.
Yeah, it was a real show for sure. It was a great experience.
Yeah. And then obviously you're getting your fair share of following there. So, like, how was the like the reception from, you know, all the fans and followers in that space?
It was awesome. I think we were all like working really hard for it and just ready to play and kind of eager to play, and it showed, and we had great reception from it.
That is so great. And then, yeah, so this album comes out just this year. It was your first full length. Prior to that, it was either singles or EPs. And then I want to get to, obviously, that it was, you know, produced by Sylvia Massey. But before we get to that point, let's just talk about just how it felt to be doing, like, moving into that next level of things, even just from a music creation standpoint.
It was pretty intense. I think it really asked a lot of us in the best way. But I know for me personally, it definitely pushed me in a lot of ways as an artist, and just like really focusing on like the labor side of art and less on like the really frilly, ooey gooey, like emotional parts. You know, like a lot of things had happened by the time we were writing this that I feel like, you know, and a lot of things had happened just in all of our lives. I think that we had a lot of inspiration to pull from. So it was like a really good time to dig in and just like get the work done and start churning stuff out.
I think there's also, from what I hear from a lot of different bands, there's always this moment at the end of like, okay, we produced this music, whether it's single, EP, or full length, and we did a tour. And there's always this, are you still in? I'm still in. Are you still in? Not only am I still in, let's take it up a notch. And I think that's what's cool about this one is there's a very clear, like, okay, I'm pushing more chips to the center of the table.
Totally.
Oh yeah. I mean, even up until the point of like showing up at the studio, I was like looking at them. I'm like, oh, so we're really going through with this. Actually, we had like already had like a couple interviews with her. We had like
in the van.
Yeah, I was like, so we're like, oh, okay, so we're like actually. Okay. Well, I mean, if you guys are down, well,
I guess so. But yeah, so what's interesting about this one though is so talking about Sylvia Massey, for those who may not know, like she's done, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Tom Petty, and a lot of people's like transitional albums too, like just got a whole different sound out of them and stuff. So she's kind of a legend. And for you all, and this is just such a wonderful story to dive into, is the other thing that happens with bands is naturally you're trying out new music while you're on the road, but they're like, okay, this is definitely part of our next album. But with her, she told you, no, you have to, okay, you can include these 10 to 15 songs, but I want you to come to me with 100 songs by March. And it was just like, I can only imagine how that you must have had your jaw hit the floor.
Yeah, we hung up the Zoom call with her, and we're like, all right, everybody get to work. Like,
Stop talking and go write something.
We're like, congratulations, now get to work.
We like went out that day and we were like, let's buy some binders, right? Like let's start with binders.
About some like page protectors, some,
right?
Printer ink.
Do you have a hole punch chance?
I can only imagine, but
just the organization process of writing that many songs was, I mean, I'm really proud of us for just keeping it all together, keeping it organized, because it's, you know, you hear a melody in your mind or you have lyrics or whatever, and just keeping track of it and not letting it bleed into the next one. Even if that happens sometimes, just keeping it precise so that you can present it to somebody else was a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
Never got more use out of voice memos before.
Oh God.
Yeah, totally. And go ahead.
What's wild is once we actually got all of these demos to her, we find out from her manager, like, oh, we always tell people to give us 100 songs and no one ever does. It's literally you guys and the Chili Peppers. Most people give us 10 or 15, maybe 20 if we're lucky. So we're like...
But, I mean, I think that's probably why, because I read a little bit about how she was really enjoying working with you all, and it was probably because you were meeting her where she wanted to be met as a creator herself.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
She was like, really like once we turned in like the official 100, she was just like, oh, okay, yeah, like, we're doing this, and she did not waste any time. I mean,
and yeah, when you're working with somebody like that, you want to, like you said, meet them where they're at. You want to impress them. You want to show up for them because they're taking the time out of their busy schedule to work with somebody that they don't have to work with. So we wanted to impress her for sure.
And I mean, she's like she just got a Grammy, you know, for like Jason Isbell's album. You know, and I mean, she's still
in the game.
Yeah, like crushing it. So it was just like a huge honor. So we were like, yeah, absolutely, whatever you want.
I think the other thing, I was reading this in some of your commentary about it, but also just in realizing what that can do to a creator, is there's like kind of like you have to get into a pocket of no fear of failure. Like, and it sounds like as a mentor, she was also creating that safe space as well, in that there's no bad idea, there's no bad riff, whatever. Like, let's just see what happens when you throw it out there.
Very much so. It was very uninhibited. Like, it was, any idea was an idea to evolve, even if it wasn't like our favorite or something that we were all super excited about. It was still something that we put time and effort into and gave a shot to everything.
And did I hear too that like you all thought obviously she would prefer these songs that you had fleshed out really well, but she was actually preferring some of the more recent, organic, less fleshed out stuff?
Yeah.
What was the most surprising one, I guess, with that, whatever you want to share on that point, but what made the album that you were like, I can't believe she liked that one, but look at where it got to in the end?
G-string for me.
I mean, that song is one of my favorites on the album for sure, but it was just like out of left field that we were all like, what?
And then I was like, okay.
Yeah, and then it turned out to be such a banger. It's
Totally.
such a great
I have
song.
it to share later, and I had a few other questions about it. So we'll put a pin in that for now. But anything else you would want to share about that process of like the early stages of the raw, like we just have 100 ideas down, and then how it started to convert into this album?
I mean, basically, we collectively would all get together like 2 times a week, and Soph and Nickole were meeting up more than that to like work on, you know, lyrics and vocals. But we were just from when we made the decision to work with Sylvia all the way until basically like a few weeks before we left for recording, you know, we were meeting up twice a week as a band, and then more so, and just working on the ideas that we had from the week before, and then working on 2 new ideas each, or presenting 2 new ideas each. And and yeah, just like a job, basically.
Right. I heard too, like you were obviously getting up in the morning and writing before going to like a regular job, like a work 9 to 5 type thing, and then back again to write again. Like, was there ever a moment while you were at work where you had the idea and couldn't get to the voice memo, or something that just was like, shit, how do I do this?
Yeah, you just like repeat it a million times in your head and then still forget it. But
yeah. Or I just write it out in a text.
Sure.
And then like
and hope it comes back later. But sometimes those moments are so like a dream, like you're grasping at it and you're like, no, don't go away yet.
Right.
But did she, this was something else I read. She took you to like some method sound creation of like in a train tunnel and stuff like that. Like, tell me more about that. That sounded really fascinating.
An active train tunnel.
Active, okay.
Yes. So we had limited time to set up a couple mics, and Frankie played his guitar there, and so we set up an amp for him too, and did some really cool vocals that are on Shadowfax, and maybe Kerosene Lover, I think, too. And Frankie did some really cool like vibrato held out notes for Kerosene Lover, I think, as well, and it just the echo and the sound of it was just amazing.
That is so cool. That also speaks to like you've been often a DIY band, and now still to kind of be DIY even through a producer like that is just such a cool way to like continue like the legacy of your sound.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No way but the hard way.
Exactly. And then it sounded like she also had a water hose looped around a microphone or the drum kit or something like that.
Yeah, it's like her time cube. Is that what it's
Or
called?
is it the
I can't, there's like a name for
snake
it.
or something?
It's definitely one of her signature things that she does for drums.
Yeah,
That's her
it
background,
looks-
right? Is drums.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Drum recording.
She
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
with drums. She's a drummer.
So that
But I guess
had such a good idea.
she'd just stick a mic on one end, and then the sounds that you would get through the tube of the drums.
Right.
It was just cool.
No, that's awesome. That's kind of the fun stuff where it's like, you know, behind the scenes type stuff where it's just like, oh, that's how they got that sound.
Yeah, there was so much experimentation in the recordings too. And again, like no idea was a bad idea. And Sylvia would, you know, stop the recordings and get really excited and pull out another amp and say, let's try this sound, or like a pedal or a different guitar or something. And it was
she also like quite literally lives in a microphone museum. So there's like thousands of microphones to choose from. And I mean like crazy stuff, like really like a 1920s funeral mic and like just like a mic that Obama spoke in and just stuff like that, like really intense stuff.
Some haunted mics.
And she used like a character mic for Eve that was like shaped like some sort of ship piece.
It looked like a submarine.
Yeah. It was cool. A periscope mic.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
It should be like,
I guess they're hard to come by now, but it's a really cool character.
is that a museum that's like open to the public, or it just is like that's the way to describe what she has in her like?
I think at one point it literally was.
They bought a collection from, I want to say the Milwaukee, some museum in Milwaukee or an estate or something. So they have this collection of microphones that I know they were talking about maybe turning it into a public museum, but I'm not sure.
What fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about like this show was like people love to get into like the nerdy stuff like this. In the beginning, I tried to like, you know, well, I care, but I don't want to spend too much time here because I don't know if anyone else does. And everyone was like, why did you stop talking about the microphone museum? Like that's probably the commentary I'll get on this one, but we'll just have to do a whole separate episode on that. Today we're here to talk about Daisychain. So let's roll this back. So we'll come back to the current music. Even let's go farther back, if you don't mind, like one at a time, to talk about your personal journey to music. Like we'll get to we'll have this converge at the meeting of where Daisychain forms. But Frankie, let's have you go first. Where did you like start to just realize you were a musician? Where did it kind of grab a hold and not let go?
Well, my first memory of life in general, not just first music, but my first memory of life is watching the Beatles movie Help. That was perpetually on when I was a kid. But I mean, like, my sister gave me my first electric guitar when I was like 14.
Nice.
And that was hers. And I mean, it's just when you are destined for it, anytime you're not doing it, things just aren't right. You know, anytime I was playing in bands when I was a teenager and then into adulthood, everything else in my life just gets better. And when music has ever, you know, laxed up or I've taken a back seat, everything else just is just worse.
So I hear you. I completely agree with you there. That is true. But so then any like given like a either an inspiration or a mentor or an album, like was there something that said, I'm going to go play lead guitar for a living?
I mean, to this day, my favorite guitar player is Slash from GNR. But,
Nice.
You know, the fact that he's worked in so many different bands in his canon, and he's worked with such a diverse range of artists, and he's still just doing what he does. That's something something to aspire to.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's a great one. And then to get into like your each of your roles in this band, your lead guitar, not vocals, right? But I saw you vocals. Singing in that video. So what was going on there?
That's just for a video. When I hear this band in my heart, it is a woman's voice.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you, Frankie. Now we'll let's get the women chatting about their background. So Nickole, let's have you go first. So basically, what was your kind of like journey to music when you were either at wherever that happened, where it became like, oh, this is something I want to be a part of?
Yeah. I think I started with piano lessons when I was like 8, and I just was one of those kids you didn't have to like tell me to practice piano. I just really enjoyed playing
Nice.
it. So I think it just kind of started there. It was just I was just kind of really sucked into it. And then it kind of graduated into trying choir in middle school because the piano kind of opened that up. And so throughout like middle school and high school, I was really I did woodwinds. I tried orchestra. I was like a choir nerd all the way through high school and stuff. And then I loved like musical theater.
Sure.
Yeah. So obviously in high school, like Lady Gaga was like one of my biggest influences as for any theater kid.
No, I can totally. Yeah, absolutely.
So that kind of all evolved into like what you see in Daisychain.
Yeah, sure. And then, so your bass and vocals, where how was the navigation to the bass? Did that happen because of Daisychain, or was that something you were already kind of chilling with?
That definitely happened because of Daisychain. Cool. And every time I think about this kind of thing, it reminds me of something Thundercat said once in an interview. And he was like, the bass chooses you.
That's
and like,
awesome.
Honestly, that's how it felt. Because
Sure.
I just remember that day Sophie and I had just met and we're just jamming on some like stuff that we already had individually. Sure. And she was like playing on guitar and she's like, well, you got to learn bass. So,
and then she did.
Yeah. She had some like really cheap $30 bass that her sister had like laying around. And then that's what started that. Awesome. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah. But I mean, it's very evident there in that video and just watching some of the live performances you have on your YouTube channel. You really rock that bass though. Like it's like it's a front woman's bass playing. It's not just someone who's chilling in the background, like, just keeping rhythm.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
That's awesome. Yeah, and Sophia, how about you? How did music find your path?
I don't know. Both of my parents are pretty musical. Neither of them would probably call themselves musicians, but there's always been music around. My dad had a radio show when I was a really like little baby. My mom would come in. She was a substitute teacher, which was super embarrassing. And she would come into the classes with a big bag of like percussive instruments and hand them all out. And when I was like a little kid, it was really cute. But then in junior high, it was super embarrassing.
The wooden fish.
Yeah, but like the wooden fish, like, anything you could think of. And
the egg shakers.
All of it.
Lemon shakers, yeah.
We had mouth harps, we had it all. Anyways, and then I was a band nerd in junior high and high school and was in chorus and choir and all that, and went to college for classical music, and then just really like dove into folk music and rock and roll and decided that that's what I really wanted to do.
It's like a psychedelic Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. But no, that's very cool. Thank you all for sharing. And so now let's get this to where it converges. If I understand it right, Sophia, you've met Frankie like just around town, but then you meet Nickole at a like an open mic or something like that, and just kind of basically become fast friends right away and start performing together off of just an open mic.
Yeah, and like. It's a legendary place in Chicago called Gallery Cabaret. They have open mics almost every night of the week.
Bands every weekend.
It's a breeding ground for bands and for creatives and just for meeting people. And it was where I've met a lot of my music friends. And Nickole was the only other girl in the bar at the time. Yeah. Talking, and I was just like, you,
my friend now. That's fun.
And seriously, and then the rest, we just like jammed a couple of times, and we both wanted to start a band, and we invited Frankie, shortly after, like very shortly after. And
it is corny because we just started harmonizing immediately. And it was just like,
now, did I hear this right? And again, this might be.
I was like, wow, this is annoying. We're really good. We should actually try to. We should try this for real.
Sometimes I'm always nervous about the research that I do. But Frankie, was this more like, did you just say, hey, by the way, if you need a guitarist, but didn't quite mean literally? Like,
well, so just little background. Soph and myself had been kind of running and developing into a similar group of friends, and so we'd been. We'd met a number of times and hung out a number of times and had, some jam circle type situations. And at a certain point, Soph introduced me to Nickole and was like, oh, we're starting a new band. And they mentioned something about a show in Nashville that didn't wind up panning out. But when Soph mentioned that to me, I said, "Hey, if you need a guitar player, like let me know." And not that I didn't take it seriously, but I didn't know how seriously to take it, because tons of people say, "Oh man, we should jam." "Oh yeah, I'm starting a band,"
No, I
this
get
and that,
you, yeah.
and it's see it when you believe it. But then literally the next weekend, she picks me up at my apartment, and then we go, then here we
Get
are.
in,
You know,
loser. We're making music.
get a loser, we're making music.
That's so fun. And then so the first, and I have this track here, so why don't I get it play? I always like to kind of play a smattering of the catalog so people can get a good feel for what the sound is. The oldest track you have on streaming and on the YouTube channel is the song "The Wrong Thing." So I don't know if you want to set this up, or I'll play it for a couple of seconds and then I can bring it down. We can talk over the top of it. But is this one of the earliest tracks you guys wrote or just recorded, or like what's the story behind this one?
Oh yeah, that's definitely like an oldie but a goodie, and I think
Sure.
that was like, now that we are where we are, I can kind of like, that's one of those songs where I'm like, this is like our sound for sure. And
Sure,
it's just,
absolutely.
there's like a more like Rivers is kind of that, you know what I mean? And it just, but
Agreed.
it's like elevated. So I just, yeah, I like that one. It's a good one.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll bring it in and then we can talk about it some more. But 6 years ago, from what I understand, right, is where this track was.
That's when it was released, and I think like we were playing that one out, or actually we had released Wrong Thing prior to the EP that it's on by 6 months or something like that.
Sure.
Probably, yeah.
So yeah, it might even be towards
Right,
7
right,
years
right.
at this point.
All right, let's take a listen to "The Wrong Thing" by Daisychain.
Singing in church and I tried my best, but I got so bored, so I just left. My gnash, my teeth start to hear things from what we said, the wrong thing. My gnash, my teeth start to hear things.
You can really hear in this one where you're getting that kind of like throwback old, like this could come right out of the 60s and 70s for sure, but yet still has a more modern take to it. So it's like, I love when music is somewhat familiar, but also somewhat completely coming out of like another universe, which is, I think, where this is laying that foundation for your sound for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And this is also, let's spend a moment to talk about, like we talked about, very often it's written up as femme-fronted. And so, Frankie, you mentioned that earlier, that this sound just has, you want to hear a female-fronted, vocals on these. But that's obviously also something that's very important to you all, and rightfully so. And we always want to spend a moment to talk about these things on this show, to point out how difficult and challenging it is to be a female in the industry and that kind of stuff. And so anything you would want to share there on this topic, whether it is just simply that fact or anything else.
Yeah, I think that any person in rock and roll and the arts should be given a platform and the opportunity to say what they have to say, because everybody's voice is super important, not just the people that are in the forefront.
Sure.
For sure. And I'm glad to see that a lot of female-fronted bands, I think, are really starting to get the recognition they deserve. And
girls are starting younger too, which is super, like, we had a conversation about that a couple of weeks ago, that like when we were in high school, it just wasn't a thing that girls were in bands, and now it's more and more common that you see girls in junior high, high school,
at least in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like maybe in like some of the cool parts of the country, like, in the Midwest.
I think sometimes the assumption of that is almost what keeps things suppressed a little bit, or the siloing of things, like, oh, this is a venue that does that, so I don't have to worry about it over here. It's almost like the diversity isn't a blend. It's like you have to still know when and where to go. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think this is huge. Like another thing that I think helps contribute is the great like the Girls Rock organization, where they have those chapters across the country that help that kind of like break stigma and so on. So all of that is just so great to see. But to your point, like if you just roll back a decade or two, there weren't a lot of like you have to see it to believe that you can do it kind of stuff, where it was like you had to overcome a hurdle to think I'm going to front a band. But now there's more and more of that where it's more normalized. But we still shouldn't forget that it's still a harder road to hoe. Like it's a difficult thing that we still need to make sure we're aware of the dangers in the industry and the garbage that goes on. So we always want to take a moment to make sure that people are aware that that's still a lot of work to do.
Appreciate you pointing that out.
Yes,
too.
thank you.
And bringing light to it.
Absolutely.
You would be completely shocked at some of the things some people say just completely casually, like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Other musicians,
I used to be shocked, but the more you go and ask the question or you give people a safe space to talk about it, you become just blown away by just how common it is.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, like the lack of awareness of some people, again, people who tune in and listen and go to concerts casually. I'm trying to also make sure they understand that there are these things to be overcome by females, by Black artists, by LGBT artists. Like there's certain things where it's just like there's so many more things we could be doing. And again, the more aware we are of it, the more you demand it as a consumer, the more you can actually have an influence on that stuff. But if you don't know, then you just don't know. Like you just assume, oh, we've come so far. Look at all these female fronted bands. And it's like, well, it still sucks when you show up to the gig and people are like, okay, who's in charge? Like, can I help you? Are you the girlfriend of the drummer? Or like, it's like that stuff is still going on.
Band members only.
Right. Yeah, right.
Okay, sorry. Oh, wait. I'm in this band.
That's what happens all the time. And it's just like, honest mistake, sure, sometimes. But a lot of the times I'm like, that's not.
Yeah, maybe don't have an assumption. Like, just go on the fact that people are going to be in the right. Anyway, whatever. It's I don't mean to always stand on a soapbox, but I always want to make sure we don't miss the opportunity to point this stuff out.
Absolutely.
But can we talk too about the fact that there's a rotating drummer to this band? Like there's
a Spinal Tap,
a Spinal Tapian drummer of sorts. But like, is it just not finding the right person, or do you like the variety? Like, what's the
like speed dating?
That's what we need, like a Bumble-esque app for like band members. Like, hey, I'm looking for this.
You really?
I've seen ads for something of that sort on Instagram. I forget what the
funny at this point,
name is.
Yeah, but is it just that not the right person? I guess has come along to
definitely. We've been working with a couple people that we love and that we're really happy to have be a part of the project. With most drummers, they're in a million different projects, and
that's so true.
Really thin, and we tour a lot, so it's. We take what we can get from the people that we really, really love working with. So
yeah.
So hopefully that settles it. I guess if it is truly what would help you all,
we're available. Just putting
someone wants to get in the van,
then get in the van.
We have like a couple like awesome drummers that we kind of have, we go like back and forth, but they're awesome.
Love working with.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
It's kind of funny. We've worked with a lot of like jazz drummers. Like they're so good.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always incredible just how chameleon-like they can be, like just so talented, where it's just like, oh, you wanted to sound more like this or whatever. It's like, oh, that's even better than I had in my head, but okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. And we always joke too, because we play with these jazz drummers and then they put jazz on in the
van.
And we're asleep immediately.
Out. Like drooling, like twitching.
Yeah. Thank you. This is a very long drive to Nebraska, and that's helping me right to sleep.
On a misty morning in Kansas. Seriously. We have a 6.5 hour drive.
And it is a flat country out there. It's not exciting. Oh my goodness. I've done that myself. So let's get into some more of the current music. So this song G-String, you all said you loved it and weren't you weren't expecting it to be where it ended up landing, which is, I'll agree, it's a fantastic song. But again, I hope I have this right. Frankie, you will sometimes be working on like a riff or something and we'll just give it a label. And you labeled this particular riff G-string and it just stuck. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like because I don't touch lyrics. In my book, the vocalists should always have the final say on that sort of stuff. And obviously, Soph and Nickole both come up with fantastic lyrics. So, none of my my business, but yeah, I'll just come up with ideas and give them like a pet name, a working title of some sort. And so I was just the initial riff in that song sort of is centered on an open G string. So I'm like, G string. And obviously, I don't care, it has no bearing on what the lyrics should be, but sometimes, they take the work.
It's inspirational. It helps with inspiration. But a fun story about that. Do you know the band? They're called Seven Horse. They wrote the song. The song I'm referencing. It was the main song. You would probably recognize the riff because it was what was used in the Wolf of Wall Street's like promos and commercials. And the song was called Meth Lab Zozo Sticker. And it's the same exact story. The guy was working on a riff and he would record it in his phone and he would just put like these goofy labels on things. And this one, he called it for some reason, Meth Lab Zozo Sticker. And they decided to keep it as the title of the track and wrote a whole song with that being the chorus. And it was just like, when you were sharing that point, I was like, oh, that's so funny. It's like that other one.
I interrupted you, my bad.
No, you go ahead.
I mean, I think G string in particular, like some of these songs, when we went in to record them, I obviously we elevated them. We did a number of different things, but some of them are like roughly similar to how we were playing them live or how we had demoed them, some more so than others. But G string, I think like that one probably the most took a different life from what we demoed to what the final recording was. And it's so awesome. I think it's just so fun. And, the hook in the chorus is just like second to none.
Sure, absolutely. And we'll bring it on here in a second. But obviously you all take the lyrics now down the path of the double entendre of the G string of the guitar, but also the G string of what could be worn as underwear. Or at least you play with the people can fill in the blanks themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But anything about that kind of like, again, the journey here of like that label on the song, the lyrics you're doing, and then the fact that Sylvia wants to use it. Like, it sounds like this one had a phenomenal like life of to its ultimately make it onto the album.
Oh, definitely. Like the whole thing is just really cheeky and fun and like
it's a fun story.
Yeah, it's just like fun storytelling. I think one review described it as like female mayhem,
sure.
or like female friendly mayhem or something like that. Like it's just like fun and I was really inspired by like this artist Leggy in Cincinnati. I think she's so cool and she does really like feminine, girl power, kind of like Riot Girl, but like Lana Del Rey-ish too type stuff. And I just think she's so cool. And so she was definitely, I think when we were coming up with just like the story and the vibes, like I think she was kind of in our mind for that.
Well, let's bring in the track here. It's called G String by Daisychain. Like you're just having so much fun. It's amazing.
It was fun. I'm like, oh my God, that was so much fun.
And this was a DIY video, right? Like this was one you all just shot.
Yeah, it was a really fun day in San Francisco. on a budget, obviously, but we had a great time.
We were in like Chinatown too. It was such a cool
was so
vibe.
freaking cold too, but we had so much fun.
Sophie whipped out some Spielberg stuff. I'll just say that. Like I was like, wow, you have like a real eye.
iMovie in a dream, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a. So this one's a little poppier. Like I said off the top, like there's a sound here that's uniquely yours at the core, but you do flavor these with different types of genres. This is obviously a little more poppy.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it was fun to experiment too, and not really lock yourself into one genre. Even though it's fun to do that, it was just it went even more into the creativity of writing these songs.
For sure. And I think that, you know, just to like show that like we can do that.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to like show that you don't take yourself too seriously. Like
Yes.
I would argue. I don't know. I'm a pop girly. This is very serious to me. Like, I feel, you know, I don't know. Like I said, Lady Gaga was a huge influence. Growing up, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, like, you know, Spice Girls. Like that was just for girls in our generation. That's like who you listen to and what you watch.
Yeah.
And
Who you looked up to.
yeah, and I mean, they should really vote very straight.
Totally.
So,
Yeah. No, I always go out of my way to say pop isn't necessarily meant to be anything other than just it is what it is. Like it's still hard to write a really high quality pop song. Like it's like you know, the kind of thing to have it be a consistent, you know, success point for some people, whether it's, you know, I was over the weekend, I would just had like a playlist on and like a Madonna song came on from when she was earlier in her career. I'm like, holy crap, this is still just great. Like just that stuff is just so good. And then you can just see these people just rolling out hit after hit. And it's like, yeah, okay, if it's so easy, you go try and do it. Like, so
for
pop
sure.
is
But
just,
I do like that we have like really heavy, I know what you mean now. Like we don't take ourselves so seriously, and that we have like Kerosene Lover and Rivers and these like more like in-depth emotional heavy hitters, but then we also have like G-String, which is just like a really fun pop song, a really fun story. So like in that way, like we don't
that's precisely what I was getting at.
and I even think he meant more like the video, like that you were like willing to just be playful, like just, you know, goofy and silly in the midst of that awesome song. But
and then we can also
vocally,
turn the lights down.
Vocally, it was reminiscent to me of more like Juliana Hatfield and you know, people like that in the 90s, like that kind of rock harmony type stuff. Liz Phair, you know, those kinds of sounds. Like when I read what people had said about your music, which I think is a testament to you all, I was like, I'm hearing something, I can't quite put my finger on it. And then I would read someone's review and I'm like, nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. And Rivers, I have a totally different one that I was just like, it hit me right away. But these other ones, I'm sitting here going like, what is it? I can't quite put my finger on it in a good way. Like, it's like, again, reminiscent of something that's still wholly your own.
Cool. Love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the earlier this year you had the album release, but even before that you did a tour. Came back, did the album release, then toured back out again. I was lamenting the fact that I kind of became familiar with your music too late to see the Philly show, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed you come back this way. In fact, you should check out Bethlehem, which is technically, I'm about an hour and a little bit north of Philly. It's a great music town. So like, it's like one of these sleepy little, not sleepy to us, but like it's overlooked, I think, a little bit by touring, that you have to check us out. Hopefully we can get you to play here in our backyard. But Philly works.
Awesome.
Bethlehem's awesome. But so how was the tour leading up to since then? Like, I know you're about to head out to Europe. Like, that's got to be exciting.
Oh my gosh.
Surreal for sure.
Yeah.
Is this your first time heading there?
Yeah, it's our first time touring there.
Very awesome.
But the touring heading up to and following the album was really great. It was kind of, you know, like we're used to touring and we're used to the grind of it. And it was just really cool to see people's reception to the new music and be excited about something and I don't know, hear about us from different outlets and stuff, and you can kind of feel the momentum behind it, which is really cool.
I gotta think that feels great.
Yeah.
Was there the classic van breakdown incident on this tour too?
Oh yeah,
that was over the summer. Yeah,
we were like stranded in Keystone, Colorado for what felt
about
like
that.
months. It was like The Shining. It's like, how long have I been
It's
here?
a beautiful place.
It's like a
but
photo of me on the wall. Like, I've always been here.
We didn't have a van. We
Sounds like
are
there's a
also-
song in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no grocery stores up in Keystone. There's no like, you just can't really do anything if you don't have a car. So we were stranded. But
Yeah.
we
Just
made the best.
enjoying the nature.
Totally stranded.
Oh,
We
but,
once got towed into Vegas. That was really luxurious.
That was cool. We got turned into our show.
Yeah.
yeah. Can you please tow us to this address?
We still made the show.
We
That's
have
like,
a
I
gig.
mean,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
we did luck out on that one.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
towed to a random tow shop. My uncle came with his pickup truck. He lives outside of Vegas. He just so happened to like make it to the show, saved our asses, loaded all of our stuff up into the back of his pickup.
Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike.
Shouts out to Uncle Mike.
And we made it in time, and it was a fun show.
That's so cool. There's the stories. They got to be so phenomenal. Just if you could aggregate them all.
They're like phenomenal, and then
I
they're just
know.
like gross sometimes.
I know, and the ones that we can't tell online.
I know. The ones we have to wait to put in our
That's
book.
why I need a Patreon. I can promise it to people like, hey, you get the behind the scenes cut of the
On
story.
the bridge. And we're like,
Yeah.
we watch movies at 10 p.m. and went to bed.
Yeah, it'll be totally
We
cool.
have our eye cream on by 1 a.m. and we are.
Oh, that's awesome. But cool. So, anything else we can help promote? Obviously, you've got you're touring Europe. So, if anybody's actually, weirdly, I do have people who are downloading in Europe. So, if you're listening and you're in Europe, check out Daisychain. But obviously, there's the socials, the streaming platforms. But one thing we always try and encourage is make sure you buy merch straight from the artist, whether it is the music or a T-shirt or whatever. Like if you like the music, you got to support it straight with them. So let's bring up your site here to kind of see what we can.
Yes, appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
So here
Because we
is
tour a lot.
daisychainmusic.net.
That's us.
Every dollar goes a long way.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's our new record.
Here's the touring: Germany, Denmark, Switzerland. This is going to be so cool. And then back to Chicago back in
An
November.
incoming show in Chicago on November 23rd. It's a Sunday night. I'm also going to call it my birthday show as well. So
Yes.
get on
Sad
it.
season.
And then, like we talked about, here's the merch.
Yes.
Vinyl, very
Yeah,
nice.
vinyls.
They're so cool.
And the
Aw.
shirts.
That's us in front of the corn cob towers.
There you go. Some cool graphic tees.
Man, it's awesome how collaborative music is. You get to really meet a lot of cool, like, videographers, visual artists, photographers. It's cool. And then also working with other awesome musicians.
Oh yeah, and so thank you all for coming on the show, for sharing the stories, and for this phenomenal music. Help me just set up so like after we do the credits, we're gonna play Rivers. What can we do to set that one up for everybody?
Oh man. I love this song. I just feel like I'm speeding down a mountain in a really cool car with the window down, like a sports car. It's just such a cool song.
It's such a fun driving song. And I'm curious to hear what you related this song to, or what you like.
So the band that it jumped out at me right away was Black Rebel Motorcycle Club.
Oh,
Nice.
yes.
That's so cool.
That's,
cool.
I mean, it made me it triggered that so much that I went back to their albums and started listening to them again.
Nice.
Because it's just such one of my favorite sounds. Is that I wouldn't even call it shoegaze. It's just this like fuzzy guitar, awesome. Like it's just so good. But as soon as it came on, I'm like, this sounds like a Black Rebel Motorcycle Club song, and it's just so good though. But it's again, it's so wholly your own. It's not like so like theirs that it sounds like it's imitation. It's just purely in that same kind of zip code, and it's delicious. It's so good.
Wow. Yes, hell yeah.
I agree.
Oh, yeah,
I love this. one.
The self-titled of theirs is definitely one of my top ones.
Yeah, and you can hear like because you're that guitar that you're kind of just riffing the whole time is like the engine of underneath that whole stuff, and then the vocals and the bass is so good. So people are going to want to stick around for that. That's probably the best tease we've ever done on this show, to say stick around for the last track. So thank you for helping me with that. But Nickole, Sophia, Frankie, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you. And travel safe in Europe. So there we have it. Daisychain, just such great. I always again just love it's great humans, and then such great music, and it's just so easy to listen to and chat with, and hopefully you enjoyed all of that, to be able to get a little bit of the backstories behind some things, and even just to kind of the behind the scenes nuances of how the sound was created. Just incredible stuff. So you're going to want to check out all that stuff, and the whole back catalog is great too. So to check out all that music and go check them out when they perform nearby. It sounds like they love touring. So even though this is a moment in time where they're going to go to Europe and come back, it sounds like they're going to pick right back up once they get here. And like I said, I hope they come to Bethlehem someday.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Next Favorite Band. We'd like to sincerely thank Nickole, Sophia, and Frankie from Daisychain for sharing their music, allowing us to kind of dive deep into their catalog and into the inspirations, and also the journey that got them to be musicians in the first place. I always love hearing those kind of the story there of how they found it. And it was just cool to kind of follow that path, hear how Daisychain became a band, and then just launched from there to your ear holes. There'll be links in the show notes to their website, Spotify, YouTube channels, Bandcamp. We'll try and connect to all of those different ways that you can take a listen to their music, and then, like we said, hopefully support them with a purchase direct with them, and then also getting tickets to their live shows. From what I understand, it's an incredible live performance, and I can't wait to check one out myself. As always, our hope here is to bring you your next favorite band. If you tuned in tonight because you already knew Daisychain, thank you very much. We hope you like what you heard and what you saw, that you might be interested in subscribing or liking and following us, so that we can bring you your next favorite band in a coming week. Or your next favorite band might already be out there. nextfavband.com and our YouTube channel has all of our prior interviews. And so you might just simply dive in there and find your next favorite band from one of those prior episodes. Anything we can do to help kind of curate that, let us know. Reach out. We love doing that. So we would love to help you find that. And stick around for one more track from Daisychain. The aforementioned and hopefully well-teased Rivers by Daisychain.